Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of NC-17. My name is Josh. Today we have with us rising scream queen Melissa Sapienza. How are you doing today?
Pretty fantastic. How about you?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. Not gonna lie, I had to practice your name for like 10 hours.
You are not the first.
uh, so before we get into the movies you've been in, do you want to give a little backstory about how you got into the industry and was it something you wanted to do since you were a child?
Oh, sure. Well, I started dampering in the world of indie filming back in 20 late 2018, early 2019, working on special effects. And that kind of just dove me into the whole world because before I was just doing makeup for fun and costuming, and then um went head into acting right after that. But um, horror itself has always been something I've liked as a child, and um, it is kind of cool to like look back and think, man, little me would be so proud that you would be in the same type of roles as like Nancy from Elm Street, and you know.
All right. Uh, so I've seen some of your movies, not all of them, but I've seen some of them.
Sure.
So Killer Camp Out 2, you play
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Uh, so getting into that character, was there certain like inspirations you drew from?
Oh wow. I with Killer Camp Out Part Two, um, similar to what you said in your review, you have your typical cliche characters in filling in those roles, and you know taking some inspiration from classic 80s slashers and the type of attitudes that you know typical troubled teens would have. That was probably the biggest inspiration there.
Uh, uh, you have probably the best lines in the entire movie. Not gonna lie, especially when you're sitting at the campfire.
Yeah. So I would beg to differ, but I appreciate it. There were so many good lines scattered throughout. It was a fun script.
Uh, uh, you got to work with Morgan Malam quite extensively. That was kind of like your co-star in every scene you were in.
Mhm. Yeah.
How was that interaction?
So Morgan and I got to meet on a different set, and we're super excited to reunite and see where each other was in life. And it did help with uh, having that uh, relationship prior to filming um, for Killer Campout. It did help with that chemistry between the characters. So it, in the fact that we knew each other, it wasn't just you know taking on a role like this just a stranger. So that did definitely help. And Morgan is such a gem. I love working with them as much as possible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, what would you say was your favorite part of filming that movie?
Oh my goodness. My favorite part, honestly, it is all of the um fun stories that get made behind the scenes. When you are on a fuzzy monkey film set, you become family. So having those goofy interactions in between takes and having deep conversations, at like 3 o'clock in the morning, um, just getting to know each other as humans and not just the characters that we're playing. That's always a favorite thing for me.
Oh yeah. I will say though, every time I see a movie with you and Tim Hell, all I remember is you saying you like anything that looks like a dick. I mean, that caught me and my wife watched it at the same time. That caught us off guard. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that was probably the best line. So, in my opinion,
You
yeah,
can blame that one on good writing. So kudos to John.
uh, you were also in The Legend of Crickfoot.
Yes, yes, do.
Yes. Getting into that character because that was probably a different kind of character than it was for Nancy. How did
Oh,
you get into character?
absolutely.
Oh yeah, how did you get into character for that one?
So working with Bone on the Legend of Crickfoot was really cool because he um, encouraged you to come up with your own character and how your character would have interacted with the cryptid. How would they tell their story for this documentary? And the first thing I thought of was like your typical nature loving woo woo, getting into her witchy artistic side. And um, it was really fun being a caricature of that type of person.
Oh yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
so two different kinds of films. Uh,
Mhm.
was there anything like from Crickfoot that maybe would you have actually preferred to be in a scene with someone in the costume?
I would say I think not. I think if I were to re-record anything, I would have it more like having, steel drums and sage burning and making it more over the top in regards to what was around me, but not having somebody in the costume. I think it plays more into the mystery that is Crickfoot.
Oh yeah, that's a good answer. I see you play a character named Emily in The House That Eats Flesh.
Yeah.
So I've heard some. I mean, I don't think it's out yet, is it?
No, it is in the best that I can describe this. It is in a distribution limbo.
Okay.
Um, Unfortunately, it got into hands that are not as passionate about getting the movie out as the rest of the cast and crew. So, we're hoping something becomes of it, but as of right now, it is in distribution limbo.
All right. Well, we won't go too much into that because I don't want to get
Sure.
nobody in trouble.
No, you're fine. You're fine. And I mean, there's been plenty of general, statements put out to update people as we go along. So that's what I got for you. It was a great experience, especially working with Lisa Wilcox. She is definitely one of my horror heroes growing up and watching her. So it was great to be in the same space and having one-on-one conversations and working with her. So I don't regret
Uh,
it.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So in 2018, you were in something called Summertime Flick, and
Yeah.
your name is Psycho Man Hating Killer.
Oh yeah, that was one of the earlier films that I did with a buddy of mine, Roman Ricci, and or Dr. Primo. Um, he is the reason. So kind of backtracking just a smidge. So when I mentioned that I was doing special effects first, I got hired to work on the Silent Hill, and that's where I worked with uh, Darren, and then he introduced me to Brad Twigg, and now Fuzzy Monkey is a regular thing for me. So, Summertime Flick, that early film, it was fun because there's a running joke of how many times I can cut Darren's dig off in various characters. So,
Oh yeah. So here's a question for you: is there
sure.
a specific kind of subgenre of the horror genre that you like, preferably to do that you haven't done yet?
That is a good one. My goodness. I think a zombie flick would be fun. I also wouldn't mind trying something a little more serious, more of a thriller type, maybe less comedy. Um, I think those that would be like two of the areas I wouldn't mind tackling.
All right. Zombies are definitely a lot of people's favorite subgenre. Do you have a favorite zombie movie?
Oh my goodness, a favorite zombie movie. Um, that so Return of the Living Dead 2 is really good. Um, I enjoy Dawn of the Dead. Um, what's enough like I zombies? I can't like I can appreciate Resident Evil, but not to the extent that eh.
Yeah.
um 28 Days Later is a good one. Yeah.
All right. You had a brief cameo in Cocoon.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh, that movie was phenomenal.
I love it. It's so ridiculous.
uh, so you play the cadaver, but I mean, laying there listening to John Russo and all that. How was that?
So, it was pretty entertaining. I actually was just supposed to pop in real quick and do makeup on somebody that was going to be a cadaver. And then Brad's like, actually, do you just want to do a cameo and just do the makeup on yourself? And I'm like, all right. So that's how that happened. Um, but no, it was funny because I was kind of competing against myself to see how still I can be. Um, and it seemed to work. There was one time that um, John Russo he said something. He giggled because he said something about looking lively. Someone said about, oh yeah, look lively, and then he's like, look lively, and I'm sitting there looking dead. And that was the only time that I cracked and had to take a minute to get my composure.
Oh yeah. Uh, so out of all the films you've done, is there a certain scene that's like sticks out to as one of your favorites, or just like I won't say your best, just like one of your favorites?
Oh wow. I want to say one of my favorites is my first feature, Death Board, and uh my first like Scream Queen scream on film. That was, that was kind of a milestone there for me.
Oh yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
so let's go back to Killer Camp Out for a second. You actually the whole cast was awesome, phenomenal. But with you kind of having your intimate scene in that movie,
Mhm.
did you find that kind of difficult? And was they respectful on set and stuff like that? Just
Everybody was super respectful. And it was absolutely nerve-wracking. That is typically not in the line of work that I've done. But like I said, luckily, it was somebody that I knew, and Brad and the crew make sure that it's a close set, and it's everybody's being very respectful. So it made it easier.
all right. Uh, with Killer Camp Out Part Two, when you and Morgan are walking through the woods looking for the person who's gone missing,
Yeah.
she's like, "I gotta go pee." You're like, "Look, I seen your." That was just again another like line drop that I was not expecting. Did you have any free reign in saying any of that stuff, or was it all script?
In those particular instances, I actually stuck to the script most of the time during this film. Like I said, it was a really well written script, and it was written in a way that made it still feel organic to the characters on what they would say. Um, so yeah, that stuff was not ad libbed.
Oh yeah. uh, I know you work with Justin in this one.
Yeah,
He's actually going to be a guest tomorrow.
I
Uh,
saw. I was so excited.
oh yeah. Was there any shenanigans going on? Because I know just by seeing the movies, it seems like you guys are a tight knit group. Was there any shenanigans and just like people trying to make each other crack while filming?
Um, typically. when we film, it was things were rolling. We tried to keep it as professional as possible because we're all trying to get this stuff done. But definitely in between takes, it was a free for all. That man can twerk. But no, Justin, he was pretty hilarious. And um ask him about gay lips.
I will. I will. I'm gonna write that down. I will. uh, so before you guys started filming, you guys did a script read together, right? Or
Um, yes, I could not be involved in that one. But I believe they did have one.
all right. So going on set, you've already had a line of communication with Morgan, and was there anybody that you were just meeting on this set for the first time?
Um, I'm trying to think. Yeah, so Bruce, that was the first time I worked with him. Jerome, who played um who played the killer. Um, I'm trying to think. Justin, that was the first time I worked with him. Kaylee, Shonda, really the majority of them were all fresh faces, with the exception of working with like Brad and Daniel um, and Morgan.
All right. Uh, all right. So I saw the trailer for it, Cracula. Can you talk a little bit about that?
About what was that again?
Cracula.
Oh yeah. So you said you like the interactions between Tim and I. Well, Tim had went and written this insane script and it's hilarious and Cracula is exactly what you think it is. Cracula or Dracula is back and he is thirsting for some drug blood.
Oh yeah. So with you being in the industry for a little bit now and got some very powerful movies underneath you, trust me when I say you got fans and everyone in my house.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Is there a certain actor, actress, director, producer, writer that you haven't worked with that you might want to work with?
Oh, absolutely. So, first one that comes off the bat is one of uh my newest film besties that I haven't got to work with her yet, Jen Nangle. Um, she has been such a sweetheart and is so loved in the indie community, and I would love to actually work with her in the very near future.
Oh, yeah. Uh, you got another one coming out called Love is Found in Unexpected Places. Can you talk a
Yeah,
little bit about
that
that?
that is a short that a friend of mine, Jason Boyer, had created, and he's been pushing that through various film festivals. Um, and it is a silent film, so it's a different vibe, but it is a love story. It is a COVID love story of all things, and it is read and taken in like a silent movie.
Okay. Uh, let's talk about not Killer, Curtains for Christmas.
Yes,
You play Marv the Rat.
yes. Whenever Steve Rosinski uh, cast me to do voiceover work, I was so excited because I've done a little bit of voiceover, but not character voiceover, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I loved seeing Marv, come to life.
Oh yeah. Uh, let's talk a little bit about Deathboard. You play a Kathleen. Uh,
Yeah,
can you kind of walk us through that and what it was like filming in that movie and just like the interactions with all the other cast?
sure. So that was my first feature that I acted in, and the only person I knew was Darren, from the Sideling Hill. And it was a little nerve wracking at first, trying to get familiar with, the girls that I would be working with. But it was very easy to warm up. Um, it was definitely a fun learning experience, seeing the do's and don'ts of indie filming in general, and it created a new uh, set of friendships and family that has branched out throughout the indie community, and really, um, you know, I don't really just beneficial to um, my career in this insanity.
Oh,
Yeah.
uh,
I yeah.
so you say you do special effects and makeup and stuff like that too.
Mhm.
Would you say you prefer to be in front of the camera or behind the camera?
Ooh. Um, I have too much energy to um not be in front of the camera. But I would say I do prefer to be in front, but I am always willing to help behind camera wherever I can and how much is that I can.
uh, Actually, if you want to take a couple minutes and just kind of talk to I give everybody the opportunity to do this. If you want to just talk to the people trying to get into the industry and kind of like what you should look out for and what
Mhm.
you should be prepared for.
Okay. Well, I guess really is don't be afraid to get yourself out there, and you have to communicate with people, you have to network with people. Um if you are on social media, getting into casting groups and independent filmmaking groups, building those relationships even online is can be helpful. And be prepared to audition. And how are you going to audition? Are you going to use your phone? Do you have a camera? um all of those little things that I think I wish I would have known sooner. Like how to set up your audition, um positioning and everything like that, and how you read sides, um and don't be afraid to ask questions. The indie community, um 90% wants to help each other out, and don't be afraid to ask questions, because that's how you learn.
Yeah.
We're all still learning, we're all figuring things out. And yeah, like just uh, the biggest thing that I always tend to lean on is, you know, take the leap.
Oh yeah.
You don't know if you're going to like something or be good at something until you try it. So, if you see a casting call, reach out, get information on it. You never know.
Oh yeah. Uh, you do the convention scenes.
I started making appearances and having tables set up.
How's that been?
It's been fun. It has been fun. I've got a couple down. I'm trying to book a couple more this year. That would be super awesome. I love meeting, um, you know, the indie community, and what better way to do it than at conventions?
Exactly. Yeah. Uh, so with you being both special effects and actress, scream queen, extraordinaire because you are. Uh, do you ever find certain things kind of like more difficult to do than not, whether it be acting or the special effects?
Um, I think, and to be completely honest, special effects can be a lot more difficult. Um, because depending on what you're trying to accomplish, um, you have to do so much different prep work and have a plan for if that effects doesn't work, or a prop that needs blood coming out of it, and if that's not working, what do you do next? If a prosthetic doesn't want to lay, what are you going to do to make that shot work? So I definitely think special effects deserves more credit,
Oh yeah.
and is definitely the more difficult position.
Nice. Uh, so here at NC-17, we actually do a year-end awards, and we actually do give out awards. It's a group of
Oh,
us that watch all the movies and everything. And there's some people, I'm not going to point no fingers, but there are some people that are already putting you in certain categories.
oh, geez.
So
Oh, that's
and
sweet.
I know it's early in the year, but my thing is you got all these Hollywood blockbusters coming out, and some of them just aren't hitting. You know,
Yeah.
and then when I watch the independent films, it's like I say it all the time, and I'm probably gonna say 100,000 more times, but it seems like you guys put more heart into it because you know Hollywood's like, I want my money. You guys are like, I want to
Yeah.
do this because we love this.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
so
mean, and that's what you do see whenever you see, those multi-million-dollar projects. I mean, they're looking to have a turnaround and make a profit. And it is like at the end of the day, it's about the money. And when you have, independent filmmakers, a lot of them are micro budgets to zero budgets, and they just want to do it to create. And I think that's why people love indie film so much because it's real, it's raw, and obviously, hey, if we make a few bucks, that's pretty darn awesome. But obviously, that's not the big focus.
yeah. Uh, you saw my review for Killer Campout, right?
Yeah.
You do you remember my rating for it? 1 to 10.
Oh my goodness, it was a 7 or an 8.
It was an 8.
Eight. That's
Uh,
okay.
but I always go back and rewatch because I always want to see if I missed something or if it's gonna hit the same. It has gone up to a 9.
Oh
You know,
yay!
it's see movies like Killer Campout to me showed how much more into the projects you guys are because you can tell you guys are all there. You can tell just by the chemistry you have on screen that you guys are like you said, a family.
Yes.
What would you say to Brad Twig right now about that film that you may have not had said?
I like to remind Mr. Twig that he is an amazing individual and he does not give himself enough credit for what he creates and what kind of people that he touches. Um, that's kind of what I want to say to him. And he's a shithead, but
uh, is there anything that like with all the movies you've done? Is there one scene that kind of hit you emotionally that you didn't expect would hit you emotionally?
oh wow. Um, honestly, um, no. Horrible. But like I think I haven't had a a role yet that made my character need to be super emotional. Um, there was some terror that I was able to portray with the house that eats flesh that hopefully we do get to see that. But in regards to like major feels, not there, not quite there yet. Comedic horror isn't giving me much of tear jerk and stuff yet.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
uh, you ever thought about maybe writing or directing?
Oh yeah. I'm in the early stages of trying to do some writing. Um, my goal is to have um an anthology written um, by the end of this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, we got about 9 minutes left. Let's talk about Homicidal Harry. You,
Okay.
uh, I see it's in production. Can you talk a little bit about that and what it's pretty much set around?
So Homicidal Harry, that actually probably needs updated because I want to say that there is physical media of it. It might be very limited because it is more of like an underground gore film.
Okay.
And so with that, you are seeing the main character struggling with his own personal demons
Okay.
and how he really takes it out on people. And one thing I did enjoy about this one is my husband is in this with me.
I get to work and go home. That's always a good thing.
Yep.
Speaking of your husband, he goes on a convention scenes with you, right?
On occasion, he's come and man the table with me. This past convention we went to at Acronomicon, he has a black metal album that he made with his buddies, so he was selling that. So supporting each other's creativity. It's great.
Uh, uh, so with him music and you movies and now him movies also, do you guys ever find it that, working together is more beneficial than, like him doing a solo project and you doing a solo project?
Um, so we've only done a couple things together in regards to filming. Um, he tends to get typecast as like my abusive boyfriend, which is kind of hilarious. Um, but and he was also one of my cult members in a paranormal documentary. Um, and really, that's the biggest things that we've done together creatively. Um, he has helped behind the scenes uh, with some music video making that was done for a documentary. Um, I would like to see us do more collaboratively, honestly. Whether it be, if he's working on the audio end of things and I'm working on, directing, I think that would be a fun collaboration.
Okay. So we got about 7 minutes left. Did you want to take some time out to plug your socials where people can reach out to you, see your films, or just plug anything you'd like?
So, yeah, I'm on the Facebooks and the Instagrams. I am currently running a sponsorship program. If you don't mind me mentioning that real quick.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm in the process of raising funds to make sure I can make it to more shows. I've really enjoyed connecting with the indie community and would like to continue doing so. So there is a link in my social medias, on my Facebook actor page, Melissa Sapienza actor page, um, that if you would want to donate and sponsor me for this year, that would be super awesome.
Yeah. Uh, the convention scenes are always unpredictable.
Mm-hmm. It
Uh,
is.
I I go to every single one that's here in Michigan.
Okay.
My favorite being Motor City Nightmares. I know I mentioned that to you
You
before.
did.
It's smaller, but it's more intimate, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's similar to Gross Fest. Gross Fest is coming um at the beginning of August. I believe the dates are August 1st and 2nd. And it is a smaller con, but the people that appreciate independent horror films, that's the place to be because it's small, it's intimate, um, and everybody's there to have a good time.
All right. All right. Uh, is there anything you'd like to say to any former castmate or future castmate?
Former cast members and crew members, I love you. And we need to work together again. I'm itching to be on set. Let's go. And to future cast and crew members, I'm waiting. It's gonna be a good time.
Oh yeah. Uh, I do want to say one more thing about the character Nancy.
Okay.
Since you were the only character that literally wore the flannel,
Uh-huh.
to me it was like you were the that character was the outcast because everyone else was just wearing the shirts. And
Mhm.
then when you just started dropping mic drops after mic drop, I was like, that's a badass character.
So the reason why I even wore flannel was to cover my tattoos on my arm because it was supposed to be set, I think, in like 1990, and I have a sleeve started of Nightmare Before Christmas characters, and that wasn't out until 92. And continuity, I was like, I have to cover these up. So
Oh yeah.
that was my attempt to do that. And, I think it just kind of helped make Nancy her too, like the skirt and even my Converses and the wig. That wig was ridiculous, but it worked.
Oh yeah. uh yeah, it's I want to say that you as an actress, I'm gonna rate you 1 to 10.
Oh
Okay.
Jesus. Okay.
Uh so and me and my wife had an extensive conversation about this. You are a 10.
Oh, thank you.
Uh, oh, you're most welcome. So with the characters that we've seen, my for some reason my wife really dug do. I'm
Yeah.
like, I was like, okay, I get it. But to me, Nancy was a rock star. You know,
Thank you.
so and I've never rated it like an actor or an actress. This is the first time ever. So,
Oh, thank you. And I can't wait for you to see Crocula because you're going to love Peaches.
uh, there's. I'm actually probably going to be trying to find the rest of your movies to watch them. So, yeah,
Oh, goodness.
it's. I don't know, I'm a horror junkie. I mean, if you saw my room, you'd be like, you got an issue. But
Couldn't tell. Couldn't tell.
but I do want to thank you for coming on, and
Thank you for having me.
oh, you're most welcome. And with NC-17, you have a home here whenever you want to come on, even if it's to
Thank
say
you.
you got a booger in your nose. Something
I
tells
got
me
any
you
bats up there?
no, but something tells me you would come on just to say, "Hey, flick that." But no, it has been an honor and a privilege, and I again thank you.
Again, thank you for having me. This was fun.
All right, all right. I'm gonna say everybody until actually, you know what, Melissa, I'm gonna let you close
Yo.
out the show.
All right, y'all. This is N-17. Deuces, my gooses.
All
We're out.
right.